Come up with very good satisfying resolutions that see us do better what we do best. I'm also hopeful that our visitors from out of Rwanda will also spare some time to see what our city has to offer. And when you go home, you go home with good memories of Kigali. So without taking too much of your time, ladies and gentlemen, I will invite the coordinator of this conference, Mr. Gilles Gatsirombo, to address us, to welcome us to Kigali. Mr. Gilles.
This conference, Honorable Guest of Honor, the Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Natural Resources, the President of AFRES, the Executive Director of AFRES, as well as the President of International Real Estate Society, and the delegates in general. Honorable Guest of Honor, Permanent Secretary, Minister of Land, Minister of Natural Resources. Here we have delegates from, by mentioning, we have delegates from Germany, from Ireland, from Nigeria, from Ghana, from South Africa, from Zimbabwe, from Namibia, Kenya, Tanzania, and Uganda. Also, without forgetting Rwandese who must come last. So, dear delegates, here we have the Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Natural Resource Authority as our guest of honor. Thank you.
It's an honor for me to invite Mr. Victor Akijuru, who is the President of AFRES, to address us.
Thank you very much for the introduction. As you see, I'm not Victor. Would you like to stand there? I have been introduced to the African Real Estate Society on behalf of the President of the Society, who's not with us at this moment. He's still making his way here. I'm actually the third person who should be in line, but I'm here nevertheless, because we also have the Vice President of AFRES in our midst. Moses, I can't see you, but you are there. So you've got me in my third sort of capacity now to introduce the society. On behalf of AFRES, it's an absolute pleasure to be in Rwanda. It's something that we've wanted to do for years. And it's part of our policy to move around the continent For those of you who are less involved with the African Real Estate Society, our policy is to have meetings in different regions of the continent as we move along. So before this, we were in West Africa, we're here in East Africa, and from here we'll be moving to Southern Africa next year. What is also something to bear in mind is that we are now at our 13th conference. This is a society that has existed now for many years, and to be honest, has developed with the African property market over the years. And really, I think what is so exciting at the moment of being in this space, being involved with land and property issue on this continent, is the prosperous economic growth that we're seeing happening here. I think that's, using sort of the word of one of our former presidents of South Africa, the African Renaissance is with us. I think we're seeing it. I think very few newspapers don't, on a daily basis, certainly in South Africa, mention of companies that are moving across the continent. And I think that brings a lot of excitement. I think it comes with its challenges as well. It comes with its challenges of how our cities grow. It comes with the challenges of ensuring that we develop sustainable property markets across this continent. A property market that respects land, and I'm very happy that our guest speaker is involved in that sphere, that how we treat our natural resources with economic development, and the built environment has a very important role to that. So those will be our challenges. So yes, we've got the prospects of rapidly growing economies, with some of the economies across the continent at the moment growing at rates that are exceeding what we see in China, India, and elsewhere. I think that for us to move forward, we have to avoid what I have sometimes called the Dubai effect, where we know how to build. Some of us will argue that we've learned to build since the pyramids, and things have got more complicated, but we need to create the professionals in the real estate sector, in the development sector, across this continent, if we are going to sustain the growth that we're coming. Too often we see the problems that we do not have the professional. We end up with gaps that we find difficult to fill. And the quicker we play a role as AFRIs with our partners and the countries that we're involved with in trying to address these problems, the better. The role of AFRIs is really one of trying to match the work done by academics, the interest of professionals in the market, and that's what makes these conferences so exciting. Often when you go to real estate investment conferences, people have to speak to their book. They have to speak to what their company expects of them to say. And I think what gives the richness of these conferences is that we have students, academics, and professionals who can speak their minds in an open forum. And I think that is what makes it interesting. What I also always argue with the AFRIS conference, this is not the biggest conferences. There are some conferences that are much bigger than these. But it's of a size that allows you to connect. With these very big conferences, you can find yourself in a corner, lonely. There's no, well, let me put it on this continent, you're never lonely. That's not something which which we have in Africa. We're always willing to help us. A good example of the work that we do through AFRIS is that at this conference, we've got 4 students from Rwanda who are helping us with the questionnaire to try to understand the skills gap that we have and some of the issues. And by the way, if they do come and annoy you and say, please help me with the questionnaire, please play your role and participate. They are students who we're trying to. Yesterday we had a session with them, with some of them, and where we talked about questionnaire and how we handle these things. You know, if we look at the program that we have in front of us for the next 2 or 3 days, it's a very exciting program, and it really touches on the issues of growing property markets, the problems we have with cities that are growing, housing issues, how do we handle the balance between highest and best use of land, the need for housing. And I suppose the point that I tend to make, how do we treat land? Throughout the world, we've commoditized pretty much everything. But land is different, very different. And in our societies, how we allocate land, whether it's the market that should be allocating land, or tribes that should be allocating land, governments, and how we ensure that our land is used in the best possible way to meet economic and social objectives that we aspire to as a continent and countries. And I think this leads to interesting debates. The other thing to bear in mind, I'm not going to go through all the topics that we had, but there's one that I do want to talk about. And the one that I do want to emphasize is that 10 years ago, when many of us were involved with AFRIs, 80% of the discussion was about land registration, land issues, very central. We were not talking about investments, commercial property investment. We were not talking about data. We were trying to resolve the land issues. And I think that over the years, if one just looks how the debate has moved within AFRIs, it is a clear reflection of the things that have been handled, considered across the continent, which has now allowed us to move to a session. For example, we have a session and a growing number of papers on property investment, data, transparency of markets. And I think it really shows the growing maturity of our markets. That we've got markets that are maturing, where we're handling the issues, and that progress of the debate is such an important one. I think I'm going to stop in a moment because, you know, as a professor, I'm used to a double period, which I'm not going to do here. I'll keep it shorter than a single period. But I think I'd like to leave it at that. This is our society that we're involved with, African society. This is also our organization. And these are not just property markets, these are our property markets. And how we handle them, I think, in the years to come is going to be important. So I would encourage you all, get involved with the society, the African Real Estate Society, and you will gain the benefits. Some of those benefits could be financial, but there'll certainly be a lot of food for thought.
Many thanks, Professor. Ladies and gentlemen, it's my pleasure at this point in time to invite our guest of honor to address us. Our guest of honor.
The representative of the Africa Real Estate AFRIS President. I'm trying to familiarize myself with these acronyms. AFRIS Board of Directors, members of the conference organizing team, and delegates in general. Good morning and welcome. It is my honor and privilege to have this opportunity of welcoming you all to this important event and addressing the government of Rwanda's concerns in the real estate industry. When I go through this year's theme, I was trying to look at it this morning because I happen to be representing my minister who's in cabinet today. So when I went through this year's theme of unleashing the value of the Africa real estate markets and last year's unlocking the Africa real estate potential, it has become clear to me that the real estate industry in Africa still has a long way to go. Land tenure and development issues are in most countries not sorted out. There are many land tenure conflicts in Africa. There's a big shortage of housing in Africa. And land development in Africa is, in most cases, not business oriented. Land issues are closely linked to poverty in Africa. I would like to urge the AFRES members and the leadership to do more research on these issues, focusing on sorting out all these problems in Africa. We in Rwanda, under the leadership of His Excellency Paul Kagame, the President of the Republic of Rwanda, have moved credible steps in sorting out land-related issues. All land in Rwanda is now registered. All city and town councils have land development master plans, which are in implementation stages. And as a matter of fact, on the conference website, there is a video showing the Kigali City Master Plan. I imagine you're familiar with the website since you've all been part of this. I haven't managed to look at it, but I will do so when I go back to the office. In strengthening the sustainability of the real estate industry, the government of Rwanda has established the Rwanda Natural Resources Authority, city and town councils, the Rwanda Housing Authority, and the Rwanda Development Board. The Rwanda Natural Resources Authority deals with land surveying, registration, leasing and documents archiving. The city and town councils deal with land development plans and the implementation of these plans. The Rwanda Housing Authority deals with housing-related development, land development, and the Rwanda Development Board deals with investment promotion. I imagine later on we'll go deeper into these things. The Deputy Director General is here, responsible for land management. He's here, and I imagine his presentation will delve more into these issues. All these government efforts are supported by 3 pillars: the Vision 2020. I like to say that everybody knows the Vision 2020, including my grandmother, who's almost 100. So you can imagine how far that goes. The little children and the old, they all do know that they do know and own the Vision 2020. The Millennium Development Goals also support, those are the pillars, and the EDPRS and self-reliance. As I said, all the government efforts are built on 3 pillars: the Vision 2020, the MDGs, and the EDPRS and self-reliance. Distinguished participants, Rwanda welcomes all efforts and endeavors of AFRES in allowing experience sharing and research about the real estate industry. As the real property valuers is only 3 years old, and the University of Rwanda has just started producing real estate professionals, the Rwanda government expects much from this important dialogue and the networking opportunities that are provided by this gathering. I imagine the members of AFRES, I urge them, the members of AFRES, to learn from Rwanda's experience and Rwandans to learn from the different experiences across Africa. The experience sharing and researching should come out with improved practices in the real estate industry and key recommendations. In Rwanda, we have a national dialogue meeting every year. And during these meetings, we measure performance of the previous year. I urge the AFRES to establish similar mechanisms, as there will be no future if AFRES has no performance measurements of these past events. Distinguished participants, as a whole, I welcome you again to Kigali, and I hope that you will be able to take some time away from your serious business to enjoy more of this beautiful city. I don't know when you came in. I'm sorry, I still am yet to know for how long you'll be here, and I don't know when you came in, but please take time and enjoy your stay here. I wish you fruitful deliberations, and I thank you.
And invigorating words. I may now invite Mr. King Alaore to give a vote of thanks.
Good morning, delegates, special guests of honor, the AFRES board members. I wear two caps at this occasion as the president of the International Real Estate Society and as the executive director of our own society. So first, I'll don the first cap, and I'll quickly speak to the addresses I have sent to all other sister societies in the IRS network. As we all know, the International Real Estate Society is the umbrella society for all continental societies. The American Real Estate Society, the Pacific Rim Real Estate Society, the European Real Estate Society, Asian Real Estate Society, the Latin American Real Estate Society, the Middle East and North Africa, as well as our home. Basically, the main theme for IRES this year had been on education as well, and it's been on student activities and academic exchanges. Now, our thought on the student activities is that there'll be no sustainability in a profession if those coming behind are not developed. So a lot of work is going on student activities, which will include student exchange programs, as well as academic development. Now, on the academic activities, the thought is that if we can put all academic programs together globally, we will have an opportunity for collaboration. We will have an opportunity for faculties exchanging academics. You'll be able to, people will have opportunity to pick sabbatical. There will be a platform on which there will be postings for vacancies. Right now we receive the vacancies and send them, but we really want to create a platform for that. We want a platform where people from different countries can collaborate on research to help our profession move forward. Now, this strategy is being done on a continental basis because it's easier to capture the data continentally. And in our own continent, the African Real Estate Society, it's been anchored and coordinated by Dr. Olawande Oni. I'm sure during the AGM, he will have time to speak about it again. He's gone out, and we haven't had very impressive support for it at the AFRES level. But from the informal discussions that have been going on, it seems as if people are not fully aware, because I can see that informally people are trying to make the connection that we're trying to assist in putting together. So I'll be quite glad at the AGM if some of this data can be willingly provided. At every society conference, there is always an IRES panel, which is a major footprint of IRES at the society. I'm glad that at this conference, we have a panel on real estate finance in Africa. And I think that will be taking place at 8 o'clock tomorrow morning, which is very good. So I'm glad to be here, here of IRES, and I would also like to introduce one of the IRES board members that is here, and that is Professor Kawana Shute. He represents IRES on the African Real Estate Society board as well. Other board members are the president, the immediate past president, and I think the incoming president is also a board member of IRES, so maybe they should please stand up for recognition. Yes, immediate past and the incoming. So thank you very much, and I wish us at AFRES a very good outing. So I take off that cap and I put on the second one. Now, as the executive director, it is my lot to thank those who have made all the arrangements for what we have started witnessing since Monday, and that we will continue to enjoy till Saturday, when some of us will be returning, and I think some of us will be going back on Sunday. First, I'd like to thank the keynote address speaker, the Honorable Minister of Natural Resources, Honorable Stanley Skemanzi, very, very ably represented by the Permanent Secretary, Caroline Kayonga. Thank you very much for coming. Thank you for making it a wonderful occasion for us. Our sponsors, I can see that we have the Natural Resources Department, that's one of our sponsors. We have the Institute of Real Property Valuers in Rwanda, as one of our sponsors. We have the Rwanda Bank. I'm not sure I got that right, but I think there is a bank in Rwanda that's supporting us. Yes.
Rwanda Development Bank.
Pardon?
Rwanda Development Bank.
Rwanda Development Bank is supporting the program. So I'd like us to please give the sponsors a big round of applause. Then of course, we could have all those people, but without coordinators and those who have been burning the midnight oil and toiling around the clock, there's no way we will be able to be here. So the local organizing committee, led by Mr. Egide Gasirobo, I would like them to please stand up so we can acknowledge and thank you. For us, and we know that right from the airport we had started feeling you. We know we're going to feel you until we leave, and we'll come back. Thank you very much. The event managers, led by Celeste Makuza, would also like to thank you. And all the delegates. I'm not sure I have all the countries captured here, but I will just try. Delegates from Ghana, please stand up so we recognize you. Nigeria. South Africa. Namibia. Uganda, Tanzania, Kenya, I know they'll be here, Germany, Burundi, have I missed out any country? Zambia. Zambia. Mozambique. Zimbabwe. Okay, have I missed out any? Rwanda. Yes, Rwanda. Delegates from Rwanda. Thank you very much. I also want to stand up. The students in our midst. And of course the media. The media. You can stand up or wave. Thank you very much. So finally, let me also thank the hotel, the conference venue. I think it's been smooth sailing since we arrived, and we hope it will remain like that all through the program. So.
As we come to the end of the first session of this morning, we'll take a short break before we reconvene. But our guest of honor will request that you grace us for a group photo just outside the hotel so that we have something in memory. And we will request our boards, the different boards of IRS and our friends to be in the front row while the rest of us can take us the second and third line. Thank you very much. The ladies at the exit will guide you.
Ndi umuyobozi mukuru w'urugaga rw'abagenagaciro ariko ubusanzwe urugaga rw'abagenagaciro umutungo utimukanwa. Urugaga rwatangijwe amatariki y'ukuri muri 2010 nibwo itegeko ritangiza ryagiyeho. Rukaba ari urugaga rw'abantu muri iryo tegeko bagaragaramo ko bagomba kuba bafite ibyo bize bijyanye n'igenagaciro, bakaba bagomba kuba bafite experience y'ukuntu bakora uwo mwuga. Ubwo rukaba rubashyira hamwe kugira ngo uburyo bwo gukora igenagaciro ritezwe imbere mu Rwanda. Nitwe twayiteguye. Iyo ni inama uretse abagenagaciro kuba bayirimo, ariko harimo n'abandi bakora imyuga ijyanye n'ubwubatsi, ijyanye no kwiga imishinga y'ubwubatsi. Twayihamagaje ku mpamvu nini imwe yo kuba urugaga rwaratangiye muri 2010, urabona ko ari imyaka 3. Duhamagaza iyi nama kugira ngo tugerageze twihutishe uko igenagaciro ryakorwa cyangwa uko ryahuzwa n'uko ahandi muri Afurika bikorwa.
Ariko dusobanurira neza igenagaciro bivuga.
Igenagaciro risobanuye nk'uko bivugwa mu itegeko, kugira ngo ntabwo umuntu utari umutekinisiye cyangwa